Hey guys, what's up? It's Kevin for the win. We're back for another edition of Diablo 3. Today on the channel, we are taking a look at the starter set for the Crusader for Season 25 of Diablo 3, that being the Thorns of the Invoker set. Primarily, it is a Bombardment set that focuses on using some of your primary skills. Here it is. Without further ado, Thorns of the Invoker. 2-piece bonus. Your Thorns damage now hits all enemies in a 15-yard radius around you. Each time you hit an enemy with punish, slash, or block an attack, your Thorns is increased for 2 seconds. This effect stacks up to 10 times. 4-piece bonus. You take 50% less damage for 20 seconds after damaging an enemy with Bombardment. 6-piece bonus. The attack speed of punish and slash are increased by 100%. And deal 67,500% damage. So that is quite a mouthful. So mostly we're going to be using a full set of Thorns of Invoker, but we're also going to use to help augment its power Captain Crimson, because it goes with everything. 6,000 life per second, reduces cooldown of all skills by 20%, reduce all resource costs by 20%. 3-piece bonus. Damage dealt is increased by the percentage of cooldown reduction. Damage taken is reduced by the amount of damage reduction you have. We're also going to be using Restraint and Focus, where, as you can see here, also going to be using the Talisman of Akan, as well as the Breastplate. That way we can get the 2-piece bonus for Akan. I'm going to show that to you right here. Breastplate of Akan, as you can see, in conjunction again with the Talisman. Let's bring it down here so you can see 2-piece bonus, reduce the cost of abilities by 50% while Akarat's champion is active. So this will reduce the resource cost from Bombardment and some of our skills. We're also going to be using Flail of the Charge in conjunction with the shield for this 2-piece bonus. Increase the duration of Steed Charge by 2 seconds. In addition, killing an enemy reduces the cooldown of Steed Charge by 1 second. Gain 400% increased damage while using Steed Charge. Alright, so that is what we're going to be using for this particular build. For the primary skill, Slash, Carve is the way I would recommend you go with it. Bombardment, Barrels of Spikes, because we are using Thorns. Iron Skin, Reflective Skin, that way Thorns does more damage. Akarat's Champion, Prophet is the way you want to go here. Condemn, Reciprocate, I recommend. However, you could use Vacuum if you want. Steed Charge, Spiked Barrel. For the passives, Heavenly Strength, Iron Maiden. We're also going to be using Indestructible, as you see here, which is pretty useful for the build, and Finery, which is very important and gets you a bit more strength. In the Kanai's Cube, must run this. The Mortal Drama, Belt of the Trove, and the Ring of Royal Grandeur. You cannot change anything in this Kanai's Cube if you want this build to work effectively for you. This is my Paragon. Obviously, as you're playing Seasonal, you will not have access to it, but that's kind of what you're striving for. For the follower, you want a Broken Crown. You're also going to want, for your necklace on your follower, the Flavor of Time. Nemesis Bracers is also very important. Everything else is pretty much just throwaway stuff. Gladiator Gauntlets can be a little bit useful. Spolders of Zakra, not so much. Gold Skin, kind of helpful. Let me make sure I put my skill on my Guardian here, because I just realized I didn't have the skill for my follower that was necessary there. Okay, and pretty much we are all ready to go. For the purpose of this demonstration, I am going to show you a Greater Rift 60, 65, 70, and 75. The reason for this is I want to show you how this is going to do for you in Greater Rift 13 Torment difficulty, going all the way up to Torment 16 difficulty, and that's the best way to do it. Yes, in this particular set armor, I could push higher, but I want to show you how to effectively speed farm, so keep that in mind, because it does come up in the comments. So the first thing you want to do when you get into the Rift is activate your Akarat's Champion. Then what you're going to do is activate your Iron Skin. That way you can increase the amount of Thorns that you have. Bombardments will drop naturally because of the Belt of the Trove and the Mortal Drama in conjunction with each other. Every once in a while, if you run into an Elite Pack where you feel like you need to take it out quickly and the bombardments are dropping, you can use your bombardment, but I recommend saving that for the Rift Guardian. Also keep in mind, whenever you are near enemies, pretty much the lower level enemies, I would recommend activate your Punish or your Slash, depending what skill you went with. Me, I went with Slash in this particular situation. That way you can always procure your 2-piece bonus. So As I've mentioned before, there's two different type of variations for Bombardment Crusader. The first variation is the more used one, which is a bit more of a glass cannon, that being the Ockrotch Champion build, which does use 2 pieces of the Thorns and Invoker set in it as well. That one is a bit more glass cannon, where it deals out more damage a lot faster and a lot quicker. However, it cannot take hits very well. This is more of a tanky, slower build for Bombardment, where you're relying heavily more so on your Thorns to be able to do the maximum amount of damage, as opposed to just, you know, increasing and abusing Ockrotch Champion, which is the Ockrot build. I haven't covered the Ockrot's build yet. That's available in the playlist. I did cover in Season 24. Nothing from that build has changed for Season 25. Keep that in mind. Now, if you're asking about what gems to use for the season, look on the description as I link you to a sample guide. I'm not going to be featuring it in the video directly, because somebody will probably watch this video after Season 25 is over, and then the gem guides will not be pretty much practical the information, because the season will already be over. So look in the description for the gems that you need to run that are only available for that season, okay? Now, in terms of optimization for this particular armor build, what would you need to do? Well, for starters, keep this first thing in mind. Because this set relies heavily on Thorns, you need to put the maximum Thorn roll anywhere that you can possible on your armor, and that's a lot of different places that you have to look for that. Subsequently, because we are using Captain Crimson, the next thing that you should prioritize is cooldown reduction 8.0% wherever you can fit it into your armor. Anywhere you can get cooldown reduction and get the max roll for it, definitely put it on this armor, because it will help you tremendously with the Captain Crimson. Then from there, I would recommend anywhere that you can fit resource cost reduction 8.0%. Definitely make sure to do so, because that will help reduce the amount of damage that you take. So those 3 things are the first 3 things you need to prioritize. First and foremost, maximum 4s on your armor wherever you can get it. Secondary from there, then you maximize cooldown reduction wherever you can fit it at the max rolls, 8.0% usually for most pieces of the armor. Then from there, resource cost reduction, 8.0%. That way, again, you can maximize the amount of damage that you can reduce that is taken to you. For Rift Guardian, simple. All you go is slash, and then pretty much when the bombardments drop, you pretty much should one-shot most things, particularly in Tournament 13 difficulty. Then from there, further optimization for this armor, I recommend on your helm, crit hit chance 6.0%. People will be like, but it's not going to work with Bombardment. You're not using it for Bombardment, or for Thorns for that matter. You're using it for your slash attack to increase the chance of it doing critical hits. Next from there, I would recommend on your gloves, crit hit chance at least 6.0%, crit hit damage 50%, which is the maximum roll you could do for that. And then on top of that, I would recommend at least an attack speed of 8.0%, greater of 60, 3 minutes, and 20 second clear time. So that's how super fast this is when fully optimized. So further optimization, what would you do for this particular armor even further after you've gotten those rolls that you need on your helm and your gloves? I would recommend then anywhere that you can get 15% damage on your bombardment or your slash, definitely do so. Increasing your bombardment is obviously the thing you want to prioritize, because obviously bombardment is where your main source of damage is coming from. Then you would look at slash or punish. Again, it depends on whatever one you're using. I recommend slash because I feel like it's the better of the primary skill attacks to use, but definitely you would want to increase that by 15% as well wherever you can. Keep in mind that in certain situations, obviously, you might have to sacrifice one for the other, so definitely I would focus first on bombardment and then anywhere else slash 15%. Then from there, further optimization, what would you need to do? Well, you would want all your pieces of your gear to be Ancient Legendary. That's basically the one where it has a yellow border over the armor, or Primal Ancient Legendary, which is the red border for particular things in all your gear. That way you can augment in the Kanai's Cube recipe, which basically all you need is a legendary gem that you've leveled up from Greater Rifts, and you put that gem in with whatever piece of gear that you want to augment, and appropriate flawless gem. In this case, it would be 3 flawless rubies. That way you can maximize the amount of strength, because the Crusader in particular relies heavily on strength to do its optimal amount of damage. So then you would do that. I recommend augmenting pieces of armor and gear at level 80, the gems. Preferably you want it a high level, preferably 100 and higher would be better for you. That way you get an increased amount. But at level 80, you'll at least get 400 plus to your strength in whatever piece of gear that you put it. If you go a little bit higher, 100, you probably get about 500 to 600. So definitely make sure that you do so as that. Now, with that being said, this is your starter set for the Crusader in Season 25 of Diablo 3. But keep in mind that your build is going to vary from this build that you see here, because, first of all, Thorns of the Invoker by itself, you're not going to have the Captain Crimson part, or you're not going to have the Armor of a Khan. So, in that particular situation, for the moment, what you would want to do is basically prioritize your Thorns and your crit hit chance and your Bombardment, and make sure you get your Kanai's Q recipe there. And then you would then start to farm for Captain Crimson and the Armor of a Khan by doing, obviously, you want to do a lot of bounties. The more bounties you do, the higher chance you'll have of getting the plans to drop for Captain Crimson, not only in bounty caches, but pretty much from goblins that randomly spawn on the map. That was greater of 65, 2 minutes and 21 second clear time, so that shows you how effective this can do. That was Torment 14 difficulty. We're going to move on to Torment 14 difficulty, which is greater rift 70. Okay, so basically, once you're doing your bounties and once you're doing greater rift farming, I recommend for greater rift farming, you clear greater rifts that you're comfortable clearing in about 2 to 3 minute runs. You do that to 2 to 3 hours. You'll get all the pieces that you need for the rest of this build. Now, if you're not familiar with how starter sets work in Diablo Season 25, because maybe this is your first season, and if that's the case, welcome to Diablo 3. I hope this information finds you very well. Basically, you get 2 pieces of your Hatred gift starting on the Seasonal Journey Chapter 2. So basically, you complete your Seasonal 2 Journey objectives, you get 2 pieces of the Hatred gift as a reward. When you complete your Chapter 3 of your Seasonal Journey, you get another 2 pieces as a reward for your Hatred's gift. And then Chapter 4, you get the final 2 pieces. You are guaranteed a full set of your Thorns of the Invoker set armor. You are always guaranteed the 6 pieces of your set in a Hatred's gift. You are not guaranteed to get Ancient Legendary rolls, and you cannot get Primal Ancient Legendaries to drop from your Hatred's gift, because in order to get Primal Ancient Legendaries to drop in Season, you need to complete a Greater Rift 70 solo. Now, in order to do that, obviously, you would have to wait quite a while, and you would probably not want to open your Hatred's gift. So, once you got your Hatred's gift set up, start farming your bounties so that you can get plans for Captain Crimson to craft that. Also, then start, after you get the Captain Crimson plan, you want to start doing Greater Rift farming so that you can get the 2 pieces of a Khan that you need, that being the necklace and the breastplate. And also keep in mind that you will need to get the flail and the shield for your weapon and your offhand weapon so that you can get this fully optimized. So you're going to have to do a lot of Greater Rifts, and then when you put all those pieces together, you'll have this optimal build for your Seasonal Journey. And then from there, you can pretty much make a decision as you go further on in your journey as to whether you want to keep using the Thorn of the Invoker set, or you want to maybe switch out to the Armor of a Khan. Keep in mind that both builds are very interchangeable, as they use pretty much all the same pieces of gear. The only difference is, obviously, if you're going the Khan route, you have to change out more pieces of a Khan and then just use 2 pieces of the Invoker set. But the rest of the stuff on your build is going to be pretty much the same. If you want to see the Khan variation, again, check in the playlist for my Season 24 vid, because all the information pretty much 100% applies. No changes have been made from that. Now, another route you could go with the Crusader if you wanted to, although it's gotten significantly nerfed in power. I think Invoker or any sort of variation of Bombardment Crusader that you use is going to serve you a lot better. Is if you wanted to, you could go the Valor Satyr route. Valor Satyr has seen some significant nerfs to the armor in general that started in Season 24 of Diablo, so it's not able to perform as well as it used to be, which is why Bombardment has kind of overtaken it. in terms of usage for leaderboards and everything of the sort. In terms of this particular set armor, I would say it is a B tier armor. The only reason I say it's a B tier armor is because as you're going higher up in the Grey Rifts solo, you're going to start to see a significant amount of drop off in terms of your speed clearing and the fact that certain Greater Rift Guardians are going to take a lot longer to. Okay, case in point here, we're going to slash, then we let the Bombardment drop, as you saw there, and pretty much you should one-shot things. With this build, though, you always have to keep in mind and keep an eye out that you're always activating your Iron Skin, because your Iron Skin will come, basically wear off, and then you have to reactivate it so that you're doing the maximum amount of damage of Thorns. For the Legendary Gems, I'm going to recommend that you use the Bane of the Trapped. I would recommend Bane of the Stricken, and then you must run Boreski's Chip. Boreski's Chip increases the amount of Thorns damage that you do on this build. If you do not have Boreski's Chip, you will not be able to do the things that you are seeing in this build, so it's very important that you level up that Legendary Gem as fast as possible. That was Greater Rift 70, 3 minute and 40-second clear time, as you can see, so this is probably going to be a very effective build for you, and then maybe you want to keep it all of Season 25. But a conversion will deal more damage and be able to clear probably 10 more higher in a very skilled player's hand. Keep in mind that you don't have as much tankiness with it, so you have to be way more careful in terms of your damage rotations. Now, again, if you didn't hear me in the beginning of this video, the legendary, not the legendary gems, but the seasonal gems that you're going to want to use are available in the description here, where I link you to a sample armor build. So please, please, please make sure you check out the link in the description in case there's something that you felt I didn't cover, because there's going to be people who watch this video after Season 25, and I want to make sure that the information is always relevant for them when they find their way to this video. Now, in terms of Season 25 of Diablo, what right now seems to be the way to go in terms of tiers? Well, right now it looks like pretty much Spin to Win is still the end-all to be-all, so Gears of Dreadland, despite a couple of nerfs that it has gotten, it's pretty much up there as S tier. Same thing with the Wrath of the Waste armor for the Barbarian, which is the Whirlwind build. That is still S tier as well. The Patterns of Justice set for the Monk is also incredibly powerful, as that's the Tempest Rush build. That is pretty much the three armors that are dominating the leaderboards, as well as the Mundanuga Regalia, although it's lost some significant power thanks to nerfs in Season 24. It's still the best performing of the Witch Doctor armors. So, and then really it's interesting because now with the nerfs that has happened to Firebird, which I will be covering because it is a starter set for the Wizard, which I'm going to be getting to. I believe it's going to be the next video that I'm doing Diablo related, which should be coming out maybe for this upcoming week again. If not, maybe it'll be a little after Christmas, because, you know, it is the holidays, and it's going to take me a while to make certain videos and every sort, which I've mentioned. We're only doing really about 1 to 2 Diablo videos a week on the channel, because this is a variety game channel, and it's not just our focus on Diablo 3, although I understand that there are a lot of people who want me to put out certain guides. Please be patient. It's the holiday season. I'm the only person that works on this channel, so it's going to take me a while, and I need to enjoy my Christmas, everything sort. The priority is first getting the starter sets for the season out of the way. Then I will focus on S-tier builds. Then I will focus on everything else. But Firebird should be probably the next video that I'm doing for that starter set. And then from there, what we're going to be doing is I will probably then do the Shadows Mantle build. That's for the Demon Hunter class. And then from there, the next and last set armor that I will do is for the Witch Doctor, which is the Spirit of Rock set, which I think is probably the weakest Season 25 starter set that you could possibly use for the season. So I would recommend definitely the Crusader. I think is probably the best start for anybody this season, just based on if you optimize it, it's a pretty good build and starting foundation for like newer players, and this is a good set build that will take you pretty far. Then from there, I would say probably your next best bet would be the Might of the Earth set. It can't perform as well as this one, but it does pretty decently and effectively. Then from there, I would say probably Grace of Naris would be your third best option. Because what I'm seeing from Firebird is pretty slow, so I don't think I'm factoring in speed clearing, effective speed farming. I'm also factoring in leaderboard placement and how fast things can clear. Like, if you're just using this particular build, this is going to be able to clear leaderboard placements pretty significantly high up there, as opposed to Might of the Earth, as opposed to Shadow Impale, which is the Shadow Mantle set for the Demon Hunter. You know, Firebird might be able to push higher, but again, Firebird I feel like needs more optimization. But we'll talk about Firebird in the next video, and I'll pretty much give you my thoughts, because it has been nerfed, and the nerf is quite significant on especially the 6-piece bonus and how they've kind of reworked it. So it's kind of losing favor in my opinion. I think people are starting to gravitate back towards Chantotem Veer because it just can speed farm more effectively than Firebird. Firebird's great for pushing, and even then, like, I still feel like the Veil of the Typhon set armor is better than any of those, but it's, you know, my personal opinion. Tier lists are always very different from person to person. They vary. That was a Greater Rift 75, 4 minutes and 12-second clear time. As you go higher up in the Greater Rift and you're not fully optimized, your stats are going to, well, not really the stats, but your clear rate is going to go up a little bit. So, you know, as you keep going further and further through things, you're going to notice that maybe you'll go from 2-minute clear times to 3-minute clear times to 4-minute clear times. And eventually, as you go higher up, the number's going to get a little bit higher. If you see that you're struggling with the set, go and look back, see if you have your optimization all set up the proper way. If not, then take a look at your legendary gems to make sure you have them leveled enough so you're getting the full effect of them. If then from there you're still seeing that you're not getting, it means that you probably have to augment your armor with better legendary gems. Full augmentation means you'll probably be capping out at being able to clear Greater Rift, depending on skill level, 125 to 130 comfortably. You know, it really depends on the player, how long you've been playing, how you're fully optimized, are your gear and your rolls exactly where they need to be. So that's why I always say roughly Greater Rift 130 to 135. 135 is where the cap's probably going to go for experienced players solo. This is probably not going to clear Greater Rift 150 for you, so keep that in mind unless you're super skilled. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's Diablo free video. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow. And I will see you for the next Diablo free video, and happy holidays, guys.